Hey you guys, today I'm going to be decorating these cute little trays that I found from the Dollar Tree for $1. You can pick them up on the craft aisle. What you'll need for this project are your wooden tray, some paint brushes. I'm using a fine tip and a flatter one as well, just to get the little edges. I'm also using some paint. I'm using Craft Smart in turquoise. I'm using a metallic royal gold. This one is by Folk Art. And I'm using Apple Barrel Caribbean. These you can all find at like a Walmart or Hobby Lobby or Michael's. So let's get started. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to paint the inside. I'm going to use the lighter color for that. I'm going to paint the outside the darker turquoise color, and then I'm going to line the outside with the gold trim. Now what you're going to want to do before you start painting is go around and sand all the little edges on the front and back of the trays. This will avoid the paint getting stuck or globbed with any little bits of wood. So just go ahead and sand it lightly before you start painting. Okay, so I just added my first coat of the light colored paint. You want to do a smooth, even coat. You want to use long brush strokes so you don't have paint glopping in all the different areas. So make sure that it's smooth. This is going to be our first coat. We're going to go ahead, after this is dry, we're going to go ahead and do another coat and just let it dry completely. Now you'll notice that I did go around the edges. I just want to get a little bit of color there, just so that it has a base for when we go to add our gold accents in the trim. All right, so I'll do another coat and I'll meet you right back here. Okay, so now that our two coats are dry on the inside, I'm gonna go ahead and paint two coats on the outside using Craft Smart turquoise color. Okay, so now that I've painted two coats of the lighter blue on the inside and two coats of the darker blue on the outside, I've also painted the bottom. We're going to go ahead and rim the outer edge with our gold paint. I'm using Royal Gold Metallic by Folk Art. So just use a very fine brush that you can go very carefully around the edges. You can also use like a Q-tip or something really small to get into these little tiny sections over here. So I have my finished Dollar Tree trays here, and you can leave them just like this. You don't have to add anything additional to them. You can, if you'd like to do like a clear varnish or like a high gloss paint on top of it, you certainly could do that, or you can just leave them like that with the wood. I'm actually going to be using these for tea. I'm going to put my teacup right on top with my little cookie, and I have like a little serving platter for guests. So I am actually going to line the bottom of this with resin, and the resin will harden, and then this way when I put the hot teacup on it, it won't ruin the surface on the bottom. So I am using here 2-part casting resin. It is a part A and a part B, and I'm actually going to put my gloves on when I show you this, because you always want to wear gloves when working with resin. It's very sticky and it's hard to get off, so make sure you have your gloves on. You're going to want to do this in a well ventilated area. You might want a mask or gloves or goggles as well, just to protect yourself. So my resin that I'm using here, it's a A side and a B side. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. So I have used little plastic cups here, measured the exact amount of each one. They are both the same, and we're going to mix them together. And what you want to do is, the way I do it for my resin, I'll get this out of the way for now. The way I do my resin is I have them individually in the cups, and then I pour one into the other one. It's great if you have one of these like tongue depressor sticks, the fatter ones, because you can really kind of scrape your cup very, very well. And what I do is I alternate. I get as much out of this cup as I can, put it into the other cup, mix it well, and then I keep pouring them back and forth between the cups a few times. You need to make sure that they are well mixed. If you rush it, you do it too quickly, you don't get the ratio right, or if you leave too much in the cup, it's not going to harden. Also, you want to make sure you're doing this on a day where it is a little bit dry or not humid out. You don't want to do this on a 95-degree day. It won't set up properly. It has to be a good temperature. Do check your resin. There are some resins that have different ratios of hardener to the epoxy. Some are like a 2-to-1 ratio, so just because mine is 1-to-1 doesn't mean yours is. So just double check that. You can get your resin from any craft store, Michael's, Hobby Lobby. You can buy it online. There's all different varieties. And great for projects. Okay, so I'm going to start with that. I'm going to mix it very well. You don't want to mix it hard because you don't want to aerate it. You just want to give it a nice mix. You want to make sure you're scraping the sides. And give it a couple of quick stirs here. But you're not blending this, you're not whisking it. You just want to make sure it's all incorporated very gently without adding too many air bubbles. Okay, so I've been mixing this cup for the last couple of minutes, and now I'm going to pour it back into the other cup because I want to make sure that I am getting everything from the side of the cup, which is why I like to go back and forth to make sure that my equal measurements are fully incorporated with one another. Okay. So now I'm going to do that. And that's why I really like these sticks, because they're really great at scraping the side of the cup. Okay. And you see I have it over a little styrofoam tray. These little styrofoam trays I get at the Dollar Tree. There's a whole big stack of them. And they're great for when I'm doing painting projects, resin projects. It's a easy cleanup. You definitely want to prepare your surface underneath. You can just use a plastic tablecloth or just something on to protect your work surface. Do not do this like directly on like your dining room table, because if you get it stuck on, it's going to pull up any kind of finish that's on there. So now I'm going to mix this gently, and then I'm going to pour it back into the other cup and mix it again, making sure to scrape the sides, making sure to get it evenly mixed. Okay, so now that I have mixed together my resin a couple of times in the cup, back and forth, I did it about 4 or 5 times. Now I'm getting ready to pour into my trays. Now, I like to do resin on like a tray like this, because if I need to move it for any reason, I can just lift up the whole tray together, keeping everything nice and flat. So that's why I like to do that. I'm going to begin by pouring gently an even layer on both sides. You want to make sure you're on a flat surface, that there is something underneath it to catch any drips or anything like that that might fall. And again, if you have a tray or a big piece of cardboard or something like that that you can line on the bottom, it's just going to help out if you need to move it for any reason or anything like that. All right, so here we go, doing a nice thin layer. Now this is going to take about 24 hours for the soft set and up to about 72 hours for the hard set. So you don't really want to do anything with it until it's fully cured. Just leave it alone, let it do its thing. Now I'm just doing a very simple coat on the bottom here, not super thick, just a little protective coat. Get a little bit more out of this cup. And then what's great about these cups is you just throw everything out. Throw out the gloves, the stick, the cup. When you're done, easy, easy cleanup. Alright, so now we have a little layer on the bottom. And I'm just getting all the last bit of my resin there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do with my clean hands is I'm just going to gently let the resin coat the bottom evenly. Give it a nice turn, just letting it get to every little crevice on its own, nice and gently. You don't want it pouring up the sides. And then I'm going to go down to the other side here. And you want to do it slowly because you don't want it to pour up the sides. Just getting in those little corners. Nice and carefully. And over there. Perfect. Alright, and then you want to level it back out. Now that we have the whole bottom, you want to level it back out and just let it sit. And I'm going to do the same thing for this one. You want to work kind of quickly, because if you wait too long, it's going to start to get a little tacky. So you need to move while it's still loose. And again, with this one, I'm just going to go very, very slowly, because we don't want it pouring up the sides. And I'm just going to go this way, getting into those cracks and crevices. And back down this way. This is like almost like a little like coaster tray, so to speak. That's kind of what my intention is with it. So it's going to be just a little tray to put my cup of tea down or my drink or a little treat. Okay, I'm going to leave it just like this. Leave it just like this. Now, mine has the air bubbles in it right now, but it's self-leveling, so it will level out on its own. For mine, you can gently kind of pop them now while they're still on the surface. If you wait to pop them, you're going to see the imprint of the resin. So you don't really want to play with it for too much longer. You want to just kind of let it do its own thing. And we're going to just let this sit and cure. I'm going to give it about 2 to 3 days just to make sure that it's firmly set.